Alright, everyone. Now that you have all flipped to page 5, we may begin to play bingo. But there are a few.
Just a reminder, igneous intrusions is when hot or lava float in between some rocks that have already started to cool down, and so they cool down at a slower rate, and so that's what's forming those pink and white lines that bisect horizontally through those big granite walls. Right. The unity divide sign should be on the left. Woo! And now we've entered into the street area. Oh, we got some bingo! Our high school captains will check your bingo cards. And just a reminder, even if you've already gotten bingo, you're only getting one piece of candy. So you'll check if you got a second bingo or your first bingo. And if it's your second, you won't be receiving another piece of candy, but you'll get a high five instead.
This is on page 6, the landing. Number 1, is there enough food, water, shelter, and space in the Uniweave to support an unlimited amount of people, plants, and animals? You guys can circle your prediction from before, yes or no. And then the second part is whether or not your prediction was correct. A prediction is based on an inquiry. You're thinking about it, but we are going to be using our evidence that we learned today. Maybe think of some of the things that you learned during your conservation trail. Our 4 components of habitat: food, water, shelter, space. What one would be our limiting factor? You could use that as the evidence in your journal. You guys have 30 seconds to finish that before I'll move on to the next. Moving on to question number 2. We can shout this answer out. Which one of these is the hardest to find? Food, water, shelter, or space? What is it? Oh, I think I heard food, right? Oh, okay, water. So, it is water. Let's write in the next box what our evidence is. Conservation hype will be very helpful to remember that. Organisms in Uniweave Canyon share these 4 components of habitat: food, water, shelter, space. We can remember the mutualistic relationship between our cryptobiotic soil and some of our plants like the blackbrush. What other living organisms have similar mutualistic relationships and share the resources? You live in the Uniweave Canyon. The first question is going to be our prediction, which was either yes or no. You can write that right there. And the second part, is that still true? Was there anything that you learned today that maybe persuades you that you could stay here? Or maybe you learned some information that made you feel like you couldn't live here? Let's write that down in those boxes. 9 questions. These are all about your own personal reflection. You don't need to talk to your partner about it. You can just have those thoughts simmer around in your brain and see how we are all feeling. Question number 5 is, how do you feel after your trip to OWL? Everything from overjoyed to sad. Maybe you're frustrated, tired, or happy. You can circle more than one feeling. Sometimes you are overjoyed, but you can also be tired. And maybe that tired can lead you to being a little bit frustrated. Think about how you're feeling after today. The canyon. How will you change, evolve, and take shape with the pressure? All of our lives are very dynamic. We're always moving, learning about new things, and changing our ideas and beliefs, maybe changing how we act, how we are. What are some pressures on your guys' life that are making you change? How are you adjusting to the environment around you, changing your perspective and your actions? The canyon's gone through lots of changes. What are your igneous intrusions breaking through you? Adding some different flares and spice to your life. We'll have about 30 seconds. What are the things that exhaust you most in your regular life? What things wear and tear down at you? We talked a bit about erosion and weathering. What are those pressures that weather you down, break your lives down into tiny pieces? Maybe you go home and you fight with your sister or brother or sibling. That can be pretty hard. Maybe you go home and you have a ton of math homework or other stuff going on. We all have those pressures that weigh on us. empower ourselves from the inside. What are some strategies that we have to cope with those pressures in our life? What are the things that we do to build ourselves back up from those hard days, from those long days that seem rough at times? Do you like to sneak a little candy bar if you've had a rough day? I know ice cream makes a lot of things better. Maybe you've had a really frustrating day and you're all stuck up in your head and you have all these angry thoughts and you're mad, you feel like steam's coming out of your ears. Maybe going on a run or dribbling around a basketball, hitting a baseball. Maybe we have some ninjas here that like to do some karate or stuff like that. How are we coping and what strategies are we using to deal with these pressures? Those memories cemented in our brain. You guys have all had those days where you don't even think about what you're doing and then you look back at the end of your day and you're like, what did I do today? Well, we want you guys to remember parts of OWL. So question number 9, what was your favorite part of today? Remember those little moments, those tiny glimmers of beauty that you saw, but also remember that bigger picture. You gotta hang out outside all day. You don't get to do that every day. It's a special moment when we get to spend time in nature. Let's write down and reflect on our favorite parts of today. I hope that you've thought about those things in your life and maybe picked out a game plan of what we can do to deal with them sometimes. So, for this next section of our bus ride, you guys may have noticed on the last page of your journal, it looks like there's a survey. Oh, wow, Miss Rainbow Reinhardt, you really led into that one. It is a survey. This survey is super important to us. Not only will it help us know how your time at OWL Camp was, but it will also help us plan for 6th graders in the future. What I would like from everybody, when we depart from the bus, I would super appreciate that you guys, 1, fill out the survey, front and back. 2, rip the survey off from your journal. It's just that last page. When you hand back your clipboard, when you're getting off the bus, I would like to see the 1 page of your survey clipped to your clipboard. Does that make sense to everybody? Do I need to repeat myself if you have any questions? Okay.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh, what's in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob!